So to start off this project, I got my old fish tank. We never actually used this as a fish tank. I actually got my son a little pretend turtle, and this is what used to live in here. That was years ago though, so I needed to make sure everything was super clean and safe, so I scrubbed the fish tank. You can see the soil and things in the glass and stuff, but that was just from putting some soil and spag moss down to see how much I needed and stuff like that. So everything was already sterile and stuff, and I went ahead and filled the back panel with the expanding foam. Now, I didn't know how much I was going to use, but I didn't use a lot. It's only going on the back panel, so I knew I wouldn't have to have more than one can. And then I start layering on top of that wet foam. I wanted all sheet moss. I didn't want to go ahead and pin in individually, have sphagnum moss, and I really love the look of sheet moss. Honestly, I wouldn't suggest going and looking online for this stuff because it's so expensive, and I just don't know why people would spend so much money on sheet moss when you can literally get it from outside. So I got all of this sheet moss from just outside my house on the pavement, and a little bit from outside my neighbour's house on the pavement. Honestly, like, them street cleaners go past and get rid of it all, so it's like you may as well just get it and use it for your projects. I actually did the same thing after I've already made this. I've made a giant one and I did the same thing for that. I got all of the sheet moss for free and just collected it as I saw it. So no going and paying over £100 for this stuff. Just kind of see where you can get it for free. I would say obviously don't take it off any private land or anything like that, and if it's on someone's property then definitely ask them. Also, I wouldn't really want to take it from like a forest or something like that, because I feel like, you know, it's kind of taken from the land in a different way, whereas I'm kind of just taking it from the pavement where it's just going to get bleached and took up with the cleaners and the people. Every time I was picking it up from the ground, people was like, oh, we just bleach it, and I'm like, yeah, no, I want it, like, I like the moss. So anyways, don't go on Etsy or wherever you buy your sheet moss from. Just have a look around you where it naturally grows. So I didn't really think this through. I kind of just promptly, I had everything, so I was like, I just want to do it now, and I didn't even think about when the foam would expand and how that would fall out and stuff. So I kind of was freaking out a little bit here, but I needed something to prop the tank up so all of the foam wasn't spilling out onto the side. So yeah, I eventually get my brother to bring me some books and put it under, and then I just wanted to wait for all of that moss to be stuck in and the foam to be fully solid, so we can move on with the next part of the project. I did sit here for a while before I even asked for help, I don't know why, but yeah, so just filling in all of the gaps with the moss as much as possible, so I didn't have to go in and add in the spag moss a lot afterwards. I wanted it mostly to be all of the sheet moss. So now just going in and filling in any of the white gaps with the sphagnum moss while it's still wet. As it's drying and expanding the foam, it starts to create like gaps in between each sheet moss, and I was just trying to fill in any gaps with the sphagnum moss, so I knew it'd be easier if it's still wet to do it rather than to wait until it's dry and then individually piercing it through with little metal wires. And then again, like I said before, here's us putting the books under it so we can leave it to dry, and you can see how big the tank is. It's quite big. There's loads of room to add in plants, and I can't wait till you see how it finishes. So here I am getting little metal garden wire and I'm creating a U with it. So then on any of the sphagnum moss that's in there, I just wanted to secure it in there more because it's not as secure as the sheet moss is. Little bits were coming away and stuff like that. So I just wanted to make sure I could secure it down as much as possible so when I stood it up, loads wouldn't fall. And I was really nervous about standing it up in case it all just fell apart. And yeah, I was just trying to provide extra support for the end result on like the wall on the back. So As you can see, it is nice and ready. Some of it's a little bit spongy, but it's totally firm enough to be able to stand up. I was a little bit nervous, but you can see it actually looks so beautiful, and as you can see here, it actually stands up. So I was really nervous, but it did turn out well. Nothing fell down. I was expecting a little bit to fall down at least, but it didn't. So I just start adding in the soil. It's Soil Ninja, the soil that I always use. I'd already dampened it a bit, that's why you can see it's a bit chunky. It's got perlite in there for good airflow and to break up any bits that will kind of become more firm. Also, I would add in next time. I've added it in since I've made it. I've put in charcoal, so it's activated charcoal. It really helps with root rot. I've not had any rot in the cabinet since, well, in the fish tank since I've made it, but as I did some research, I really did find that that would be a beneficial thing in here, since that I really struggled to find a fan that would fit in here and still haven't now. So later on in the road, I did experience some algae that I've been struggling to remove because we've got no fan and it's very humid in there. So I found that adding the charcoal really helps me feel better about it, and I'm still trying to figure out the algae. But yeah, so the substrate on the bottom is the Soil Ninja mix, the base mix, and it's got worm castings in there, so it's really healthy and amazing for your plants. So I do start adding in some sphagnum moss over the soil. I just really enjoy sphagnum moss. I love how it looks. I love how the texture is, and I just love the whole thing. Here's me with my tea. But yeah, sphagnum moss growing in, like, I just keep my plants in it sometimes because I really enjoy using it as a whole. So I do add a layer of it over the soil. I just thought if there's any propagations, well, most of the things I put in there are propagations, and I thought it would really benefit because I'm used to propagating in sphagnum moss, so it made me feel more confident about it. But again, as I say before, I was experiencing algae, so I did end up removing the sphagnum moss after this. When it's all set up, I've ended up removing it, you'll see at the end. And I'm still trying to work on the algae situation, so make sure if you do your tank then to definitely add in a fan straight away, and if you can't find a fan then hold off because it's been a bit of a pain. Yeah, so this is the part I removed later on, but it still looks amazing and I absolutely love it. So these are just my little alocasia corms I'm finding in the spag moss. I did know that they were in there, so I just wanted to make sure I didn't lose them. And yeah, I am planning to put them all in the little corner and have a little alocasia corner. I think it'll be really cute. You can see at the end that there's actually already some starting to grow. The first time I've ever grown out alocasias from corms, and it's really fun process. So here you can see me trying to figure out how long I want my string of hearts. I'm propagating them. I'm making a little ball of spag moss to put over the end of the stems, and I'm gonna have like a little mini trailing plant in there. It looks so cute. I've never done this before, so I didn't really know how well it was gonna work, but I've since checked on it and the roots are growing so well in this way. I really love it, and I do have to make sure I keep on top of watering and misting this part more than all of the rest, because it's not near any of the soil. So the soil on the bottom keeps the sphagnum moss on the bottom quite damp, but the sphagnum moss on the wall and this little ball dries out a lot quicker than the rest, but it turns out really well, and it looks so cute. So now you can see all my beautiful little plants. I got these recently in a haul, and I'm just chopping some and making little propagations, and that's what I'm putting in the tank. If any, most of them are going in the bottom, but if any are on the wall, I'm putting them in spag moss and then pinning them with the garden wire to the moss wall. It's actually worked so well. The one that I'm chopping up now, this actually took a while to start doing anything, but it's just started to grow out new leaves, and I'm super excited. So you can see that I'm just placing them all, making sure the node is under the sphagnum moss, and yeah, just making sure that it's got really good start for the roots to start to form, and it's got a good chance of making it basically. So here I'm just measuring out this garden mesh. It's meant to help, it's like for weeds I think, and I need something to make sure that when I put the little bugs in there, that'll help basically, like the cleanup crew that they call it, that they're not going to escape. If I just had the normal lid on, it's got little vent holes in it and they would get out of that. So obviously they can crawl up the moss wall and I don't want them to escape, so I just kind of create this little mesh thing. I get the garden mesh, I put the Velcro strips on it, and I put it to the tank. So at the minute I'm just kind of sewing around it to make sure it's in the right shape, so I know where to put the Velcro tape, and this ends up working a little bit too well. It keeps the humidity in so much that this is the reason I think that I struggled later on with the algae situation, because it is actually so humid. It's so hard to actually get some air in there, so I've actually ended up making a few air pockets in there, and again I'm still struggling to find the fan that will fit in here. So between this and the no fan, it created a little bit of algae. So make sure if you do this, you get one with either more air pockets or you create air pockets yourself. I fucking hate doing this. So this is the end result. Super excited about it. I've took some moss out from the bottom because it had algae on it, and I'm trying to sort that out. It's a little bit on the back as well. But yeah, this is the end result. Super proud of it. I haven't had the little creature things in there yet because they've been struggling. The shop that I ordered them from, they've been struggling to get them in, but I will be adding them in at a later date, and I'm just excited about the end results. Looks beautiful.